So first of all, what is a node? A node is the conjunction of one line and another line. When you have one line here and other line here, this connection here is one node. So node is like a knot, word that represents the connection between something that comes here and something that comes here. Two separate directions of energy, or two separate directions of things that get together and here are tied, creating a new thing all together, all tied. So that's a node. Yeah. When is a node much more important? When there are many different things that go through it. So why is a node important? If you have two lines crossing, this is the basis of a node. So a node is normal. It's like basic node. So it doesn't have much information. But as many things are crossing this node and connecting this node, so the node will have much more information. Okay, so this is why as much things are crossing this node, more important will become the more information it has. So now let's imagine this. We have one filament here, a cord that starts to angle to itself and creates a node. So when you tie up these two sides, you get a node, knot. Okay, so you have one knot. So these other two parts will be now in tension. Otherwise, it is like soft, like this. But when you tie it up, you have tension. So have you ever played this game like a phone, and you put like one cup and then you have like a rope tied up to another cup, and you can speak and the other will listen. So as tight it is, the rope, when you vibration of your voice is being transmitted by this tension. But if that is not in tension, so you cannot send the message. The other one cannot listen. Okay, so it must be in tension in order for a message to go. Otherwise, the information doesn't move because of that vibration. The goal of a node specifically is to have so much tension so everything can be connected. All information can be moved along the net. So you can send this information through the net horizontally, vertically, and also in transversal lines. So all these networks that are around the realities can send and download information because of these nodes being very tight. But if those nodes are not tight, any beings from other dimensions or other realities can communicate with us, and not even ourselves. We cannot communicate to one another because the horizontal network is not connected. So this is why we have to tie the nodes up. This is why what we have to do is to work with the nodes specifically, because in order to receive a message or to send a message, in order to be able to be listened or heard someone in the other side, what we have to do is to tie up the cord, okay, tied up cord, so we can hear. So that's why we need to tie the nodes so the vibration, the frequency can move from one to another. So I guess that with this example, you can get very clear why do we have to activate the nodes, and why are we going to activate the node? Is to tie it up so we can listen to messages. Now let's talk about the next. As I said yesterday, these nodes are also portals. And there is a belief in many people that to open a portal is not good, that are bad things in the other side. So we should not open the portals. Sometimes people in the messages saying, this is not a game, you don't know what you are dealing with. It's wrong to open a portal, to do something in a portal. There's a lot of people usually saying that it's not good to open portals because there are bad things in the other side, that maybe there are darkness, there are you should not do that, because if you open a portal, something can come. And I have read all these messages that you are doing something wrong because you should not open the portal and so on, because whatever, you don't know what you're dealing with. Well, I will go straight into, I am really tired of this, really tired of people saying, no, you should not open the portal, you should not do this, you should not go and touch this or whatever. Why I am tired of this? Because I'm tired of people saying that they work for the consciousness, but being afraid. So I recommend people that is afraid of things to keep at home and not do anything, just stay in their comfort zone and not moving anything. So I would recommend to all these people, don't do anything, let us do it. And if you are afraid, close your door of your home, and that's it. So I'm gonna be really straightforward with this, because it's like the people that is afraid of what is coming from the other side is the people that lives shut down in their houses, never open the door, never open the windows. So they die because of humidity, they die because of acros, they die because of bacteria and viruses. So you have to open the door in order to let the wind come in and clean the air. So the planet Earth is basically like that. The Earth right now, like closed with acros, bacteria, and all beetles. So stop being afraid and let's open the windows, let's open the doors, and let's clean the air of this world. Okay, so if you are working for consciousness, remember, there's no good, there's no bad, there's no a huge, high entity that wants to kill every one of us. Keep calm. Sorry. A node, a portal, is basically a connection, different ties of different ropes that send information through vibration. Okay, so they resound, vibrate, and they go to the main dots. So these nodes only can resound according to the level of vibration that that rope is bringing. So if we are resounding in fear, the node will channel information from fear. If we are resounding from the heart, the only information able to come in will be from the heart. Okay, so if we do this from love, all the information can be only downloaded by love. Okay, so this is like the application that you can download in your own Shazam to find for songs, to look for songs. So when you put one song, the application will find out which one is, because it has a specific frequency that matches with the other one. So this is exactly like that. Okay, that's what a network is. A network is this conjunction of cords that connect in nodes, and the nodes allows the cords to send information to different networks, horizontally, vertically, everywhere. So it allows us to connect, to listen to one another, to receive and send data, information. Yeah, let's go to the simplest thing of a network. This is a net, this the most basic net of all, which has 6 channel information and 4 distributors of information. We have 6 channels of information, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 4 distributors, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a net of information. So for example, we can hear that we have 3 tools with 3 ways of using those tools. Which were the 3 tools and the 3 ways of use? The 3 tools are called matter, energy, and vibration. The 3 ways of use will be wisdom, love, and will. And what are these other 3? These other 4? The 4 distributors are the distributors of the 3 tools and the 3 ways. So which are the 4 distributors of all that? The 4 stages of the universe: expression, experimentation, integration, and transcendence. So in the heart of the tetrahedron, when it multiplies it by 2, one like this, the Merkaba, we will have the core of all this, which is the octahedron. The octahedron will be in the heart of the great tetrahedron. You see how it matches here? So if you put and multiply this tetrahedron in each side of the structure, what you will have is a Merkaba, which is this tetrahedron with another like this, and in the core you will find this. You will find this structure, okay? The hexahedron. The hexahedron is basically this multiplied by 2 like this. So these 3 that I am touching, 1, 2, 3, connected with this on the top, is a tetrahedron. And the other 3 here around with the one below is a tetrahedron like this. Okay? So what we are doing in this position is creating the Merkaba. So a cube, an hexahedron, is basically a Merkaba connected by lines through the outside and this from the inside. Okay? So this is another net, another way of information, another net. So now imagine that this will do a little house. So we have a little door here, and we create a roof on the top. Typical house. But now we turn the house and we create another roof. So now, if to this structure here, we put a roof, a little roof here, and we start to turn walls, create another roof, and turn it again and create another roof, and turn it again and create another roof, the result is a dodecahedron. A dodecahedron is basically an hexahedron, a lot of roofs. So we can have here the roof, and here we have 1 square of the cube. This 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. There are the roof here, the floor with another roof on the side, another roof on the side, and now you have the dodecahedron. Dodecahedron. And now, if we take each one of the centers of the pentagons, one here, other here, other here, okay, like this here. So you connect a triangle, okay, in the center. So if you multiply this triangle trying to connect each one of the interior of the faces, what you get is this network of triangles. That is the icosahedron. As you have seen, this one here creates this one here. If you multiply this by itself, you create this one here. And if you expand that one, you create this one here. And if you connect the faces of this one, you create this one here. So actually, these 5 shapes are different networks that connect by the same. So they depend on one another in order to exist. They cannot exist by separate. They incorporate the others immediately. Okay? So remember that if you have here 4 computers and 6 channels, now here you have plenty of them, 30 channels and 20 distributors. And here we have 30 channels and 12 distributors. So pay attention to these. Dodecahedron. Dodecahedron means dodeca, 12, and hedron, face. So 12 face, which means it has 12 pentagonal faces. Okay, you have here 1 face, another face, another face, 5 faces with 12 faces with 5 sides. Okay, that's a dodecahedron. A dodecahedron connects these 5 sides with nodes. If you count each one of the nodes, you will have 20. Okay, so you have 20 nodes in the dodecahedron, which has 12 faces. Pay a lot of attention here, because when I usually say dodecahedron, people say it has 12 nodes. No, a dodecahedron has 20 nodes with 12 faces. the shape of a pentagon. Okay? Perfect. 20 faces. So, sorry, 20 nodes, 12 faces. So pay attention to this one, the icosahedron. Icosa, 20. Hedron, faces. We have 20 faces with the shape of triangles. 20 faces with the shape of triangles. And 12 nodes, distributors. So the icosahedron is the opposite complementary of the dodecahedron. The dodecahedron has 12 faces with 20 nodes. The icosahedron has 20 faces with 12 nodes. Do you get the difference? It's exactly the opposite, but they're complementary to each other. So when we speak about the 12 nodes of the icosahedron, we are talking about the 12 nodes that you see here. The nodes, 12 nodes of the icosahedron. And when we say the nodes of the dodecahedron are 20 nodes of the dodecahedron. Okay? So if I say the 20 faces or parts of the icosahedron, I'm referring to the nodes of the dodecahedron. This is the confusing part, that this one here is called 20 faces, but has 12 nodes. That this one here has 12 faces, but 20 nodes. Okay? When you say the planetary network is the conjunction of these two, because when you put this together, you create the shape of a sphere. So these two together, they create the concept, the idea of what is planet. Okay? So that's why it's the planetary network. The planetary network is a cell, the world, and that has the shape of a sphere. So these two together are the first network, or the most important network of a sphere, a planet. So this is why we have the 32 nodes, and in the core we have the coordinator. We have 45 letters, so 45 coordinators. That will be the number 33, because we have 32 and one in the center where all the other nodes reflect each other, which is the 33. The 33 is the core of the information to which you are going to refer. So that's why, for example, we have 45 coordinators, 45 letters, and the first letter is M. So the node, the core of your planet of 32 will be M, and you, being these nodes of one group of 32 people, will be referring to the 33rd, which is the center, the letter M. And the same thing will happen with the 45 groups. Okay, so 33, which is the number of the core, will be the one that you are referring to, which is the coordinator of your activities those days. So now we have this structure. Let's go to see this in the planet and try to understand something important regarding this. The reason why, when we see the network, you will see that sometimes you can find other kinds of networks or nodes in the planet, like other nodes or other positions of the network. But this is because usually the people in the past were guided by the geomagnetical North Pole. So the geomagnetical North Pole is moving around. So usually the people use to build the network according to that. So that's why today the magnetical North Pole is around the physical North Pole. So that's why we located the position of these nodes according to the actual position in 2022. Okay, that's why we kind of have these locations. Another important thing is that the node is not located, like, for example, saying is in that tree around that pole there, that pole there. No, it's not working like this. It's not a specific point that you can touch. It's like territory. It's a region that sometimes can get 300 kilometers around. So that's why I'm saying regions and not specific spots. Okay, it's like moving around. Okay, so that's why you have to think that is a region, and that's why sometimes the names change and so on. So this is the planetary network according to the North Pole right now. This is according to the geomagnetical North Pole. The red lines are the icosahedron network. So those are the dots of the icosahedron. As you see the triangles in red. Then you can see the pentagons. You can see in green the pentagons around the world. Okay, that would be the dodecahedron network. So more or less, those are the regions where the nodes are located. Remember that you can access to this map in yosoy.red, the blog, where I have been uploading everything. Let's go to take a look into each one of the nodes, the 32, so we could locate them and understand why I call them sometimes in one way or sometimes in another way. Let's go node by node. Let's begin with the 12th of the icosahedron. So let's go to Egypt. Take a look into the territory that holds the node. So as you see, this pentagon here is the territory of the node. So it includes Giza, it includes the Sinai Peninsula, it includes here until the territory of Abydos, and all this part of the Nile, the Delta. Okay, so this is all the territory of the node. Egypt. Then we have here Siberia in Russia. I'm going to mention important lands of the territory. So not the pyramids itself, but this here, the land here, is the one that has the strength. All the territory that says Israel and the Sinai Peninsula. All this here is the strength of the node, okay, the telluric information. The same thing happens here in Siberia. So close to this node is Baikal Lake, which is a sacred lake, the deepest in the world. And here, many thousands of years ago, the consciousness of human beings has been shaped. So that's why this is sacred. This is very important. So that's why I mentioned Baikal as the node. Okay, that's why I mentioned Baikal as a node. But the right spot would be Chara. Chara is like a sand desert in Siberia, a small sand desert. Okay, that's the core of the node, Chara. We follow the red line here. Then we have down here the node in the Indian Ocean in front of Simaulue Island in the Sumatra territory. So this is Sumatra in Indonesia, and this is a very important node. Here there's nothing in the middle of the ocean, but the closest spot that we can get or connect to is Sumatra, basically the Lake Toba. So Lake Toba with the island Samosir is the greatest, the hugest volcano crater in the world. As you see, this is the crater, and 70 to 75,000 years ago, its eruption created an ice age that pushed humans to evolve, to move through Alaska, through the Bering Strait, and impulsed evolution in humanity. So it was a disaster, but it was really important for human history because it changed everything. So that's why it's the closest spot to the sacred it's the sacred lake, the most important part. This is another territory here. As you see, we are in Papua New Guinea, and the territory incorporates the island of New Ireland. New Ireland, which is this here, incorporates the node. But actually, we have something much more closer to that, which is Kapingamarangi. Kapingamarangi. It's an atoll that is inside and close to the node that belongs to Micronesia. That's why sometimes I say Papua New Guinea or sometimes Micronesia, okay? Because this little island here belongs to Micronesia, and this tip of the island here belongs to Papua New Guinea, okay? That's why sometimes I can call either way. So the other node is Hawaii, but it's not specifically in Hawaii. It's in the middle of nowhere in the ocean. So the closest spot you can get is the island of Kauai in the north. Okay, so that's why I call the node as Kauai. It doesn't mean that it is there. So here, if we follow the red line, we find this other node here that belongs to the Sea of Labrador, closer to the territory of the Quebec Peninsula in Canada. But there's nothing there. So if you see, there's no land in this node, but it's very close to the coast of of Newfoundland and Labrador. So Newfoundland and Labrador are the territory where you can get closer to the node, but it's very difficult. Or in the other side, you can go to Nuuk, which is the capital of Greenland. And that's why sometimes I call this node as the node of Greenland or the node of Newfoundland. But actually, it is in the middle point of both sides, which is the Sea of Labrador. Okay, so we follow the line and we go to Brazil. So this node here, there's nothing in the water, but the closest spot is this little island here that belongs to Brazil, which is Fernando de Noronha. So that's why the node is called Noronha in Brazil. So we go down there and we go to South Africa. So the node of South Africa is in this territory close to East London, and it caresses the territory of Lesotho. So that's why sometimes I call the node Lesotho. But this node actually is here in the sea, in the coast of East London, and the southeast of South Africa. Okay, this is the territory of this node. So then, following the line, we go to the Antarctica, and when we reach Antarctica, the closest spot that you can get to this is the French territory of Antarctica, with its station called Dumont d'Urville. So the closest spot you can get here is Dumont d'Urville in French Antarctica, and that's why, but also around this area, you can find the South Magnetical Pole, the magnetical South Pole. So that's why sometimes this node I call the Antarctica South Pole, magnetical South Pole, or sometimes French territory or Dumont d'Urville, okay? As you see, we can find Polynesia here in this node. There's not much to find out here. So as you see here, this node is not touching any land. So sometimes we call this node as Moorea, because the line connects with French Polynesia Strait in the island of Moorea and Tahiti. So, but when you come down here, the closest islands you can have here is Rapaiti, Marotiri, and Raivabae. That's why sometimes I call this node Raivabae, which is one of the closest spots, as Rapaiti. Okay, that's why it doesn't have a specific name. So here we have the node of Galapagos, which is incorporating all the islands of Galapagos, but mainly Isabela, the biggest island. And the last one is Cape Horns. The last dot here of the icosahedron nodes is Cape Horns, because it's really close to the National Park of Cape Horns in Chile, but also in the toe of Argentina in Tierra del Fuego, with the island of the States. Okay, so Argentina and Chile share this, but I call Cape Horns because it's closer to it. So if you have all these nodes already, so let's go now to the 20 nodes of the dodecahedron. Let's begin by the north. So now we are going to be following the green lines. So as you see now, the nodes are hexagons. They are not pentagons. Okay, so you see the 6 faces. And this is the first node in the north related to Lapland. So Lapland incorporates the territories of North Norway, Finland, Sweden, and Murmansk in Russia. So I usually call this node the node of Murmansk, or the node of Lapland. Okay. Okay. Next one. So this other node incorporates the territory of Cachemira. Jammu and Kashmir are the territory that is in conflict between Pakistan and India. So it can belong to either country, but they don't agree yet. But usually they say it is part of India. So this territory actually is not only that point there, but is all the territory incorporating the northern spots of India with the northern spots of Pakistan. This node incorporates Taiwan. I call it the node of Taiwan because it's easier, but actually the middle territory is the Batanes Island in the territory of Luzon in Philippines. So this is the territory of the node. That's why sometimes I call it Taiwan, sometimes I call it Luzon or Batanes node. So here we have, from Taiwan, we have this other node here in the Pacific Ocean related to Japan, because closer to it, there is one tiny island with the shape of a triangle with only one airport, which is a military airport from Taiwan, and the island is called Minami Torishima. So Minami Torishima is the name that I use for this node in Japan. This is the node of Alaska and incorporates the small town of Barrow, the northern city of USA. So this is the place of the node, the territory of the node. So when we go to the States, we find the four corners in this territory of the node. The other node around here is in the middle of the States, which incorporates mostly the state of Colorado and the state of New Mexico, but also can touch the four corners territory, which is the holy sacred territory between Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, and Arizona. So these are the states that are related to the node of the States. So this other node here has anything in the sea, but it's close to the Bermuda Triangle. But its closest spot actually is this tiny little country called Anguilla. And the closest island is Scrub Island. So that's why I call this node Anguilla. So the other node here is from Portugal, and it's in front of the island of Madeira. So that's the node. So then we follow to this territory here in Gabon, in Equatorial Guinea, and Sao Tome and Principe. So this is the territory that I usually call Sao Tome and Principe, in the heart of Africa. So this is the other node that I call Seychelles, which is in front of Somalia, in the Horn of Africa. And there's a small island called Bird Island. So then we go to the middle of the Indian Ocean, that it seems that we have nothing around here, but actually we do. It's a tiny island called Amsterdam Island, and it belongs to TAF, which is the Austral-Antarctic French territory. Okay, so that's the node of Ile Amsterdam. The next one is in the north of Australian Western Territory, so close to Dampier, but that's why I call Dampier, because it's easier, but actually it's in Karlamilni National Park and all this territory around. As you see, all this territory here in Australia. So I call this node the Norfolk Island node because it's closer to that territory from Australia. Even if it's closer to New Zealand, the island of Norfolk is almost there. And we have here in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, this node closer to the island of Howland Island. And this territory belongs to the country of Kiribati. Okay. This Central Pacific node is so close, so far from everything. Nothing is there. But the closest you can have is Nukuhiva, which is the part of the Marquess Islands in French Polynesia. So that's the closest you can get to that node in the middle of nowhere. So here we can find the node of Rapa Nui, which is Easter Island. Eastern Island is here. You can see the island here. It belongs to Chile, and this is the node. That's why it's called like that, Rapa Nui. So now we go to the node of Paraguay in the Chaco, which is the flatlands. And in the middle of the flatlands, you can find a hill called Cerro León, and that's the place, the node. Okay, so northern part of Paraguay. Of course, that it also incorporates a huge territory of the Bolivian rainforests. So here in between South America and Africa, you have the node of Tristão da Cunha. Tristão da Cunha is this tiny island that is in this node, and it belongs to the Commonwealth of Great Britain, but inside the country of St. Helena, in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. This node here is the territory that you can sail that is the farthest of all lands in the territory of the planet. 2,000 kilometers around, there is nothing. And it's in the Antarctic Ocean, and it's called Ross Sea. Okay, so there's nothing there in the Ross Sea. And the last one, there in Antarctica, in the Norwegian territory of Antarctica, we find the Ulvetlana Peak. Ulvetlana Peak is like a beautiful place that is straight under South Africa, and is the last connection, the last point of connection of the Dodecahedron, of the network of the Dodecahedron. So these are the 32 nodes, and of course the 33rd is the center of the Earth, the core.